What is going on, YouTube? It's your boy Spanko, and today I'm back with my boy AlphaYGO.
How's it going, guys? AlphaYGO back at it again.
And today he's doing a DDD deck profile. Now, I don't think I've ever done a DDD deck profile on this channel, but if you guys like DDD, I mean, like the video, and Alpha, yeah, you can go ahead and take over.
Alright, guys, without further ado, let's just get right into this profile, even though we didn't really start yet. But so the list here is something that if you want a really in-depth look at it, you can also check out the video at my channel, because we go in depth with a lot of DD theory and a lot of different profiles. But this list is very simple, but it's very powerful in the fact that it's very consistent, where we just run max copies of all our power cards. You know, obviously Swirl Slime, no explanation needed, does everything we want. We run 2 Necro Slime and 1 Vice Typhon in this list. The reason for this ratio is the fact that I prefer going into the smaller Genghis a little bit more than the big Genghis in this list specifically. But the fact is, Vice Typhon is still good for that utility for High King Genghis, and the fact that it's a straight level 7, which means during our plays we can just sync right into our level 8 Synchros. And speaking of those Synchros, we run our famous tuner, Lamia. You know, we cycle her repeatedly, and you know, for our final summon we can just pop a Contract Specialer and go into our last strong Synchro play. So obviously these guys are phenomenal. And following that, we have our probably my favorite, or like the best DD monster, because he searches the actual best card in the deck.
Should have got a super rare.
A lot of cards in this deck should be a holo, but it's not.
Yeah.
It saddens me to know tomorrow. This came in a structure deck, and it didn't deserve a holo spot. Like, geez Louise.
Yeah, I feel like that. Yeah.
But yeah, so obviously this guy is the best monster in my opinion, because he searches you your best card, which is the Gate, which is a Dark Contract with the Gate, and that searches everything you want. And of course, we run 2 Copernicus. The reason we only run 2 is because this list utilizes pendulums as its main starting engine, and I'll go into a little bit why we do that a bit later on. And obviously, we want to like reserve our normals to the point where we really want to be normally Kepler, but normally Copernicus is also good because it sets up a grave. It's Armageddon Knight, so how would you not want him? But 2 is just fine for this list. 3 can be a little bit overkill, but you can bump it up. Doesn't matter.
Unlike other pendulum decks, this one actually wants stuff in the graveyard, though, right?
This stuff is the fun fact. The fun thing about this is, like, as we know in DD, when you play DD for a long time, you kind of realize that like it's all about resources. It's all about the card advantage. It's all about card economy. And the thing is, like, when you can open all your slimes and your lammies and all you want, but like if you just go for those things right away and you get hit with hand traps and disruption, you're not going to end with anything. So the thing with the pendulum thing is, pendulum is a great starter because it sets up arrows, it sets up like free specials before you even use those power cards, and your opponent has to be like, okay, am I going to hand trap things later where you've already set things up, or I'm going to hand trap things now when you're going to just pop off with all these guys, right?
Okay, that makes sense.
Your opponent has to decide of what am I going to do, because you're going to end with boards regardless.
Oh yeah, the boards you can end on this, he's shown me that boards you can end with this deck is actually insanely good. By the way, I'm going to say this for you. There's going to be a combo video on test hands on his channel, okay? Sorry.
We definitely got to. This deck is all about, like, it's all about theory and crafting, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, it's about how creative you can be with the deck. And yeah, so this pendulum deck actually relies on the grave, because it's just half pendulum, half combo from the grave, or
Yeah.
so it all meshes well together. And following that, we have one of our best pendulum monsters, which is Ragnarok. Ragnarok is fantastic in both as a monster and in scale. It does so many things for the deck, and of course, it's a level 8, which without a doubt is very strong.
Yep.
And we have Triple Thomas. Triple Thomas is a little bit odd for some people because this is traditionally a 2 of, but the reason we run this is, as you can imagine from looking at all our cards, we run a pretty healthy amount of all our necessary combo pieces in our deck. And Thomas is one of our early game combo pieces, and it's just great. Like, if you think about it, it's like it regains resources. As a monster, it pops a scale to summon even more monsters, which is instant rank 8. So it's like,
it's not a bad scale either. Scale 6 isn't horrible.
yeah, especially because this deck, unlike traditional pendulum decks, a lot of people think like, oh, like those like mid numbers like 4 and stuff is like, when you hit those numbers, it's really bad for the deck, because people associate pendulum with like magicians and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, so a lot of people think it's like 1 and 8 are the best scales.
Yeah, exactly. Which is
Like,
not false.
Yeah.
But this deck really relies on the fact that any number below 8 and a high number, so something like, so typically Kepler. Kepler is a level 10.
Mm-hmm.
Scale is 10, sorry. So only thing we're pendulum summoning ever is really our level 8s
Okay.
to set. And you can see the combo in one of my DD profiles. Coaching Trainer combo is at the moment my go-to combo for this
Okay.
list, and I'll explain a little bit of that theory later on. But
There's also a way to play around the Nibiru with this list.
yeah. So so this is the reason with this list is we've also edited the extra deck a little bit, where we can either go for the value train with the Coach King trainer, or we can go for safe place to play around Nibiru.
Yeah.
You get decision trees along with the game, because you gotta read on your opponent what do they have, what do they not have, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And any changes to the main deck is just like small changes that can be, which are small but really really impactful
Okay, that
changes.
makes sense.
And these actually next two cards are where you have room to change what you want.
Okay.
Which is one Doom King and one Proud Ogre. Now, some of you might know who this guy is from the anime,
Yeah.
and some of you, or all of you, do not know who the heck this guy is.
Yeah.
So the reason we run these two, or the theory, is the fact that, again, this is another level 8, which means more fodder for Thomas. Not only is it just not a bad monster in general, it's just a big beater. It's like the blue eyes of the deck, quote unquote. But the thing is, originally, I in my first profile, I mentioned like the monster you bring up with Thomas will have its effects negated. And realistically, when you link it away, when it leaves the field and it comes back, whether through recursion or whatnot, it will have its effects live again, right? So honestly, if you don't need to run this guy, I only ran this guy as a safety measure for that ruling, just in case. But it's still useful because there's no other impactful level 8s DD monsters in this deck, and we really want to be like focusing on rank 8s in the early game of our plays.
Mm-hmm.
And Proud Ogre is, by theory, a very strong card, only because it's a level 6. So we want to also establish Wave Hiking Caesar early in our plays to counter Nibiru.
Okay.
And Wave Hiking Caesar is just good in general, just because it's a not hard once per turn,
Negate.
summon negate,
Yeah.
which is fantastic. And this guy is just a little bit better than Nikolai in my opinion. He comes up a little bit more, so
Stats are better too, right?
yeah, like he has some plays, like it's not like he's not like amazing, but
I mean, he's another name, worst case scenario.
he's just a tech, right?
Yeah.
So, but again, I'll mention later on. But these two are interchangeable for other cards, for other engines, other things. So, don't worry too much about these two. And moving on to our non-DD pendulum monsters, we have triple Curtain Raiser. Curtain Raiser is basically an honorary DD monster in my opinion, because it's a Dark Fiend pendulum monster, and it special summons itself, so it's great for starting our plays. This and Kepler equals great shenanigans. And now, the engine that I've put in to replace the Dark Worm engine, which I originally played, is now the Mythical Beast package.
It's actually really good in this deck.
It just holds so much amazing value for this deck, because, well, I don't even know where to begin. First of all, numero uno, it's a turbo card.
Yeah.
You open Cerberus, you get it onto the field, like through the shenanigans, and it's a turbo card. In this of your plays, it's another level 8 play. And on top of that, if you remember or for those of you who do know the Coach King trainer play, or I'll show you guys later, what happens is you'll recur one of your scales, one of your turbo card scales. So either it's Cerberus, either it's Jackal, but let's say it's Jackal for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Jackal will be in your scale, and your Kepler will be in your other scale. Thomas will pop that Kepler, and you do your plays, you do this, and you'll just be left with this one scale in one side, right?
Yeah.
But on your following turn, on turn 3, this card will just, there's no other scale, right?
Yeah.
So you pop yourself to summon a Cerberus, and Cerberus will just, like, without a doubt, like, when you put on counters, when you do this,
It's a good card in its own.
it's like another boss monster, right?
Yeah.
So it's a great follow-up play, which you didn't really have when you used, like, other turbo cards, like Dark Worm and whatnot. And the fact is, like, it sucks drawing multiple Shrine. It also, like, when you draw Dark Worm, if you draw Dark Worm instead of Shrine, or even when you draw...
Like, if you got them at the wrong times, basically.
Yeah, even if you draw Gate before Dark Worm, it sucks. Like, here, it's kind of neg when you draw the Jackal before the Cerberus. But at least there's ways, like, you can normal summon this off when, like, your hands are kind of mediocre. And you can activate, like, a contract. You can activate Gate, put counters on it, then use the effective Gate, and if they want to ash it, okay, well, Jackal negate. You know, stuff like that,
okay,
right?
Makes sense.
So it's a little bit more utility than that of Dark Worm. The aforementioned best card of the deck, in my opinion. Contract with a Gate. Gate is just searches everything. It's continuous Rhoda, fantastic. The only non-dark monsters we run in this deck is Cerberus, and that's pretty negligible considering that's probably one of your first turn plays. Like one of your first plays you make in the turn.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter. You fix your hands with this card willy-nilly. Then a lot of random ones, so 1 for 1. Obviously, like you send one, get Grave Presence. You bring out a Kepler, you bring out a Lamia, you bring out any level 1 you want. Foolish Barrel, of course, you dump whatever, you make your grave whatever you want. Swamp King, it's another combo piece. The only downside of it is not a monster itself, but it acts as another copy of Slimes, which is great. And we run also the one Witch at the moment, because Witch helps us play around Dark Ruler no more. It's a simple act of active Dark Ruler no more. You flip this, you use Siegfried to target the Dark Ruler on the field, and you negate it, and you just save your board. And of course, it's just Salamangreat Rage at that point too, right? You
Yeah.
pitch your pop, and if you're smart about what you pop, it's very, very impactful.
Yeah, it could be game like winning, to be
Yeah.
honest. Okay.
Yeah, so that's for the main deck. Now we have Electromite for our first extra deck monster. Electromite, and so I'll give you a brief explanation for those asking, Alpha, why do you keep playing Pendulums in your DD profile? Why not just pure combo of only DD, or Akaba Reiji never played Electromite? Like, why are you playing this? The reason is Konami has not given us anything else.
Yeah.
We don't have Needle Fiber, which is basically an honorary DD monster. We don't have Gilgamesh. This is the only card that lets us start our turn early on with like arrows and gets us resources that are beneficial to our deck. Obviously, the Electromite draw is very impactful. All the extra deck send is all impactful. The arrows are all impactful, and it's because like there's no other link in the game. I've done my research for this, so quote me on this. There is just no other link monster available to us that gives us the same level of value as Electromite does in the early game. And this deck is a combo deck, and it's a combo deck that really needs its combo pieces, right? So you need to work on your card economy and your resources really early to establish those things. Following that, we have Zephyr Metaltron. Zephyr Metaltron is just what I use for the Coach King trainer play. I just like this. It can be any other link 3. It's just nice when it has 3 arrows down. So when you make this card with Electromite and Coach King trainer, you basically play as Master Rule, the previous Master Rule, where you're just playing with like Barret Monster Zone, right? Which all DD wants. And I apologize for the proxy, but we do play the one Apollo. Apollo is really great because sometimes you just end on random DD monsters because you get hand trapped, you get disrupted, or you just end on extra bodies. But then you're just like, wait, all these just go into one, like Light and Darkness Dragon, which is fantastic. Following that, we have 2 copies of regular Genghis and 1 copy of High King Genghis. I'm very happy that this guy finally came into Super. He did not deserve to be a common. The reason we run this ratio is like, I know High King Genghis is technically a better card than regular Genghis, is the fact that in this list, we also, we run enough level 8s where we don't need to make this guy a lot, but he's still there because he's really important. But we also make a lot of plays with the little ones because like we can make like Life Hacking Caesar, and we like to do like the Stepping Stone plays a lot. Following that, we have the 1D Arc. The D Arc is here for a simple purpose of sometimes our plays don't always go the way we want it to, and we can just skip right to a level 7 plus a tuner for Synchro 8 instead of having to go 6, 7, then 8, right? That 7 I mentioned, another Stepping Stone, is the Alexander. It's easier just to make Arc Lamia level 8 rather than, oh, I'm gonna get Genghis, I have to make it into this and then this, like, it's a shortcut, right? Following that, we have our 2 actual Synchro negates. Siegfried is without a doubt, like, very famous, very popular among our DD plays, and Burl Savage, my opinion, the new age Crystal Wing especially for these decks. So, and a lot easier to make in my opinion. Like, you don't have to use Crystal Wing plus Lamia at this point. You can just make this guy willy-nilly. It's very good. Moving on to our Xyz monsters, we have the monster we keep mentioning, Giant Trainer. Giant Trainer is when you can get away with your combos scot-free because you end up not drawing just 1 off Electromite, you draw 3 off of Coaching Trainer, and it sets up those 3 zones. So when you have and this was established with 2 cards. When you use 2 cards and you draw 4, you're bound to see your other combo pieces. And when you see your other combo pieces, you just splurge everything onto the field, and you can do whatever you want. Following that, of course, we have 2 other rank 8s. We have Lancelot and Hope Harbinger. Hope Harbinger is more standard because it's our spell negate, but Lancelot can be Photon Lord. It can be any rank 8 in my opinion as well. The reason we run another type of rank 8 is because it doesn't really make too much sense to put up 2 different spell negates when your matchup might not be just spell negates.
So if you can make Siegfried, you just make the monster negate rather than like
it all depends on matchup. If you're facing Striker, like you probably put these 2 up, right?
Makes sense.
If you're facing like something else, you probably want to put up something else. But again, this can be Photon Lord, so it's all Gucci there.
Yep.
And following that, we have our Wave Hiking Caesar, so a good monster to make in the early stages of the game, and just making it is really powerful because it's not hard once per turn. And also it floats into a Dark Contract, which is great. And we of course have the boss monster himself, Well, in my opinion, he's the boss monster. Look at him. He just looks like a boss.
Yeah, he is probably one of the best cards in the game. Or in the deck.
The moment he touches the field, unless they negate the summon, the whole field is like, no, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
And you just go for complete board dominance. So that's it. Of course, 15 extra deck.
Yeah, I mean, well, so if you guys want to see the combo video, the combo video will be on his channel, on Alpha's channel. So AlphaYGO, I'll put a link in the description to his channel, obviously, so you guys can check that out. He also goes way more in depth on your channel, right?
I might have gone way too in depth in this one, bro.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but no, he goes way more in depth. He also has other videos where he breaks down like the theory behind this. So if you guys are DDD fans, I mean, definitely go check out AlphaYGO. I know he's been playing this deck forever, since before he even started YouTube and all that stuff. I know he knows what he's talking about. He puts a lot of time into this deck. So if you guys want to check out obviously more details or any other deck profiles in general, it'll be on Alpha's channel, which I will leave in the link in the description below. Do you want to say anything before we head out?
I guess I'm doing combo videos now.
Oh yeah. I'm making him do combo videos for you guys, so you guys can check out that as well.
You guys can see the different routes that this deck can take. It's pretty nice. It's pretty fun, honestly. It's all around great time. But thank you guys so much for watching.
If you guys like these deck profiles, like this video, subscribe to the channel. And with that, guys, Spanko signing out. Peace.
My hands steady, I feel ready.
俺はおちんちんの大好きなんだよ。
Chin chin.
Oh, chin chin. Give me your chromosome.
Alright,
Okay.
If you play this deck, you don't have any chromosomes left.
Lord Chin Chin.
This is what the Lord Chin Chin looks like when he sits on his throne.
Oh, that's actually funny. Okay, anyways, whoa.
Is he in Japanese?
Chin Chinの大好きなんだよ。
But my legs heavy, I don't get it. How come I haven't hit it already? Still working, I'm still learning, I'm still searching, finally earning something, finally turning something called a profit. If I hear you talking shit, don't get caught in it. I'll be popping off and hit your ass, dropping all your shit. Yeah, I promise this, I got promises. You ain't stopping this, cross my shit, you'll be knocked unconscious.